Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to our ISKCONBURLA official YouTube channel. Today I am going to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 17th chapter, text 15 onwards. Sorry. Jasudha Rohini Nando Gopyo Gopasya Kaurava Krishnam Samitya Labdeha Asan Suska Nagapi. That means having regained their vital functions, Jasudha, Rohini, Nanda and all other cowherd women and men went up to Krishna, O descendant of Kuru. Even the dried up trees came back to life. In the purport, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that disregarding any embarrassment or fear of her elders, Mother Jashoda exclaimed with great happiness in a choked voice, "My son has been saved." In these words, we are associating with the Lord and the Brajavasis. It is our good fortune. This is Advaya Jnana. So Rohini and other close friends stood behind Jashoda in a tight circle. Nanda Maharaj stood behind Rohini. Due to impatience over the delay in meeting his son, Nanda Maharaj, overwhelmed with love, abandoned his normal gravity and hastily made his way through the throng of women. Other elder cowherd men and women stood behind this intimate group. Having been saved from death, the elderly gopis returned to life and hurried to Krishna. However, the word Cha indicates that the young damsels of Braja, such as Radhika, who were developing their loving attachment for Krishna, glanced upon their darling from a distance. So, Sripad Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Vaishnava Dosani says that Jashoda and others rose up later than the cowherds because of deeper fainting from intense grief. They recovered only by associating with Krishna. Gopa refers to Upananda and others who were relatives on Nanda's side and friends like Sridhama and other boys. First they stood there and then approached and embraced Krishna. The trees which had dried up because of sorrow when Krishna entered the lake came back to life. O Kaurava, you were born to protect the Kuru dynasty, were attacked by the weapon of Ashwatthama, but then continued the line of Yudhishthira. So in verse 16 it said that Rama chachutam alingya jahasa syam syanubhavavit premna tam ankam aropya punah udayikshata gavo brisa vatsataryo levire paramam mudam. Translation. Lord Balaram embraced his infallible brother and laughed, knowing well the extent of Krishna's potency. Out of great feelings of love, Balaram lifted Krishna up on his lap and repeatedly looked at him. The cows, bulls, and young female calves also achieved the highest pleasure. Sorry. In the purport, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that smiling, Balaram said, "You have done just the right thing." Though Balaram was well aware of Krishna's strength, he looked at him intently again and again in order to see if Krishna had incurred any injuries from fighting Kaliya. So Srila Sanatana Goswami, Brihad Vaishnava Dosani says, after describing the actions of devotees having affection, Srikada describes the meeting with Balaram, endowed with great affection and also knowledge of Krishna's power. The word Cha indicates that Balaram also internally dried up. Later, meeting Krishna, who never loses his power, Achyutam, taking his hand, he laughed. Achyutam indicates that Krishna was never devoid of his hair arrangement, etc., or he never falls from his greatness. He knew the various powers of Krishna. His own powers to manifest the fire to destroy the universe was nothing compared to Krishna's powers. He remembered Kaliya squeezing him in his coils. So in the next verse, verse 17, Nandam vipraha samagatya guravaha sa kalatrakaha uchuste karya grasto drishtya muktas tavatmajaha. That means all the respectable Brahmanas together with their wives came forward to greet Nanda Maharaj. They said to him, your son was in the grip of Kaliya, but by the grace of providence, he is now free. So, Vishwanath Thakur says that Gurava Bhaguryadi Purohitaha, these Purohitas like Bhaguri. And Srila Sanatana Goswami says, the Brahmana spoke out of bliss to satisfy Nanda. Gurava refers to the priests, Vipraha refers to the other Brahmanas, or Gurava can modify Vipraha. They had left Braja with Nanda and now approached him. By coming with their wives, they became famous as the highest devotees. By good fortune, Krishna is free. This is good fortune for you and us. Being joyful, immediately hold a festival. This verse shows that the Brahmanas were intent on satisfying Nanda. By those respectful words, Nanda became most affection to his son. So, in verse 18 it said, Dehi danam dujatinam Krishna nirmukti etave Nanda prita mana rajan gaha Subharnam tada disap. The Brahmanas then advised Nanda Maharaj to assure that your son Krishna will always be free from danger. You should give charity to the Brahmanas. With a satisfied mind, O King Nanda Maharaj then very gladly gave them gifts of cows and gold. So in verse 19 it is said, Jashoda bhi mahabhaga nashtalabdha prajasati pariswajyankam aropya mumachasru kalamahu. That means the great fortunate Mother Jashoda, having lost her son and then regained him, placed him on her lap, and then that chaste lady cried constant torrents of tears as she repeatedly embraced him. So thank you very much for listening to this lecture. Of course, in the purport, Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, after getting back her son who was almost lost, Mother Jashoda sat Krishna on her lap and tightly embraced him. Jashoda couldn't do this before because there were many people around. So thank you very much for listening to the lecture, and please don't forget to subscribe, share and like our channel and get blessings to Lord. Hare Krishna.